A very warm welcome, everybody. Welcome to Ultimate Pool Extra, the weekly show where we look at everything going on in the Ultimate Pool world. And joining me, as always, is Scott Ryan. And Scott, it's been another busy week with Ultimate Pool. More wildcard announcements. We've had the pairs, we've had the Masters. There's all sorts going on.
More wildcard announcements, more excitement. Listen, I've come within a very close margin of drawing level with you in our challenge, which we'll talk more about later. But an unbelievable week, and we kicked it off with we've got an unbelievable wildcard announcement there, which has probably taken a fair few people by surprise. But, you know, this is the world of Ultimate Pool, and we've kind of become used to seeing the unexpected.
Well, let's get straight into that then. I mean, we had a couple of wild cards this week. The one you're talking about, another snooker star joins the Ultimate Pool Pro Series. Tom Ford will be a pro for 2023. Really exciting news to have another snooker player on board, another great QS. And also really excited to say, joining us on Ultimate Pool Extra this week. Tom, great to have you on the show.
No, thanks. It's good to be here.
Tom, I guess first thing I want to say is congratulations on a fantastic UK Championships, and obviously you backed that up with a couple of good results in the next qualifying tournament as well. But I want to get more into the pool and the reason why you want to sort of have a go at Ultimate Pool in the Pro Series.
Yeah, I've seen it on the TV. Obviously, when it's been on, I've not really watched a lot of it at home, to be honest. I've always sort of seen it when I've been down the pub, and I've seen it and I thought, you know what, this actually looks quite good. It looks fun. There's not any slow play. It's a lot of tacking, and do you know what? Just everybody out there on the TV and everyone's watching it. It just looks like great fun, and just want to get part of it, to be fair.
And I guess like so many people growing up, you've had your period of playing pool as well. We've seen you in a few tournaments here and there, certainly a few years ago, but certainly the occasional one over the last decade or so. So it must be quite nice to sort of dust off the pool cue and have another crack at it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I used to play years ago, county and things like that, and I used to enjoy it. The only thing that I stopped playing for in the end was because I was playing a little bit too much pool and I needed to concentrate on the snooker a bit more. But obviously I can still balance that well.
Yeah, I think we may have lost him there briefly, Scott, but it is another great announcement from Ultimate Pool. It's really exciting to have another snooker star joining the tour. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Not just a snooker star, Simon, but an ex-World Pool Championships quarter-finalist. He is a pool player with incredible pedigree. And not just that, his game and his cue action and his style of play will really suit pool down to the ground. He's made 5 maximum breaks. If you know much about Tom Ford, his cue ball control is unbelievable. And also, he never hits the ball hard on a snooker table. So he's going to find the ultra-fast playing conditions kind of something really easy to deal with. And he's already got a huge advantage over a number of the other snooker professionals that Ultimate Pool have announced in. He already understands how to play a pattern, and he already understands the right time to go in and the wrong time to go in a frame. So he is going to be a real dangerous quantity on the Ultimate Pool circuit next year. And there's not going to be too many established pros that want to draw him in a tournament.
Well, we've had a few tech issues, but I think Tom now has got some internet back. So, Tom, let me come back to you and ask you, how much are you looking forward to sort of having another crack at some of these pool players, some of the faces that you know from the past, and I guess some new faces which may be a little bit more unfamiliar to you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, I know a lot of the old school pool players. They're still there and they're still the best pool players about. But I know them all, and I'm not afraid to play them because, like I say, I've played them all years ago anyway. But no, it's just going to be a new challenge and something I'm looking forward to. And I've played a bit of pool in the past, so I know what I'm doing. The only thing I've not played too much on is these fast cloths, so I've got to get used to them a little bit. But overall, just really looking forward to it, to be fair.
Yeah, I know you were saying off air there that you've been over to the Catalonia Festival, and sharing a room with Chris Melling, which must be an experience in itself. But pretty good guy to sort of ask advice from.
Yeah, I mean, you hardly ever see Chris. He's always in bed. I think I'm going to start calling him Chris and Mattress Melling, not Magician Melling. It's more the mattress, I think. But no, we went over there and we shared a room and we had a good laugh over there. So just having a game of pool and sort of seeing it again, and it's just a little bit different to the snooker. I mean, the snooker, obviously, I've got to take it very serious, whereas the pool, I'm still going to take it serious, but it's not be all and end all for me. So I can just go and enjoy myself and just have a laugh and see how well I can do. So it should be fun, especially with the likes of the big boys there. You can see how well they are, how good they are, and it's just it's nice to be part of all that.
Do you think there'll be a rivalry? Because obviously we've seen an influx of snooker players now. Obviously Mark Selby played in the pairs, sort of opened the door, but we've seen Mark Allen play in the Players' Championship and he's joined the Pro Series, but Mark Williams and Ryan Day as well. Do you think there's going to be a good rivalry amongst the snooker players playing pool?
No, I don't think so, to be honest. I think there's a bit of a difference between the snooker world and the pool world. I think the snooker world they've got a lot more respect for each other, whereas the pool world like to just slag each other off quite quick, which I do find funny. But no, we'll all just be there. Obviously, it's not our game, so we'll just be there to try and do as well as we can, and we'll give every other pro, like the snooker pros, we'll just wish them all the best.
Scott, it sounds like there's a little bit of downplaying the chances there, saying it's not the game and stuff. But I think Tom's, he's got enough experience that he could go well.
He's underplaying his ability tenfold, because those who are old enough to have watched Tom play in the World Championships will know that he's got an unbelievable talent, and it was only a sublime performance that stopped him from going further in the tournament. Listen, Tom, out of all of the snooker pros so far that have come across to Ultimate Pool, has got the best chance, in my opinion, of doing serious damage on the Ultimate Pool Tour. He sat there as if, no, he's just turning up to make the numbers up. Believe me, you don't have that competitive. He's got a competitive streak, and he's going to come to win. And then make no mistake about that. And I am telling you, it's not going to take Tom very long to adjust to the world of Ultimate Pool. As I've alluded to previously, his cue ball control, and he doesn't hit a ball hard, which suits the fast, ultra slippy cloths the players play on, and it will not take him long to adjust to the world of Ultimate Pool. And listen, sorry to put the pressure on you, Tom, but I'm expecting really big things from him very quickly.
It's just when you turn around and said for the older generation that got to see him, I sound about 60.
Yeah.
I mean, 16 years ago, the last time you were in the World Championships?
I have no idea. Something like that. I know it was a long time ago.
Was it a quarter-final that you got to?
Yeah, I think it was a quarters I played. I think it was Carl Morris. And obviously he's done all his antics. Everybody knows what he's like. Moaning the lights were too bright and everything. So it did get to me at that time. But obviously I'm a lot older now, a lot wiser. I just have to laugh at that now.
Oh, I'd love to see you draw Carl Morris in the first tournament. That would be fantastic after hearing that. That really would.
I'd just make sure the lights were nice and bright.
Yeah, he's always got a few tricks up his sleeve, that's for sure. But yeah, no, it'd be fantastic to see you get your Ultimate Pool career underway in 2023. Really looking forward to seeing you in action. I guess we should take a look at what happened this week in the Ultimate Pool world. We had the Pairs Cup on Monday night. The first round, or the first group from the second stage, so week 17, if you like. We got 4 second stage weeks and then the finals night. An unbelievable week of action, Scott. It really was. I mean, it was a tough group to call. It was all 4 pairs looked dangerous, but it was the defending champions that came through. But a 3-way 6-red shootout. I mean, just incredible.
Never in doubt, Simon. As I said to you from the start, never in doubt. And listen, I mean, to be honest with you, Shaun and Carl probably might have felt slightly hard done by that they were in a 6-red shootout to start with. But as ever, they displayed the absolute mettle of true champions and managed to make you look silly. But then that's only half the story, Simon, really, because that was the six red shootout beyond six red shootouts. It wasn't just bizarre. It was the most unbelievable six red shootout you will ever see. And I know we've made lots of jokes with Ronan McCarthy and Declan Brennan about Declan's chicken arm. Declan's never going to want to watch that again, is he?
No, he's absolutely not, and we'll show that in a second, because actually Shaun Chipperfield and Carl Sutton obviously come through. They are the defending champions, and they will be back in finals night. I wanted to get some reaction from them on Extra, and Carl Sutton's actually gone on holiday. That's how he's celebrating victory. But I was able to catch up with Shaun Chipperfield earlier, so let's cut to that interview. Shaun, thanks for joining us here on Extra. It's been a few days now since you've made it through with Carl Sutton in the pairs. An absolutely bonkers night. So much fun, so much drama, but the ending was incredible. I mean, looking back on it now, can you quite believe it played out the way it did?
Well, that's what Monday nights are all about. It's all drama, isn't it? I mean, there were so many things happened on the night with, golden ducks, golden breaks. We played flawless all night, and we still ended up in a three-way six-red shootout. So yeah, it was a crazy night, really. No one wants to play a six-red shootout, really. From the start of the night, you want to get through, by winning all your matches. But when you do go through on a six-red shootout, and luckily for me and Carl, we know what it's like just to win. We don't know what it's like to lose yet, and it is a good feeling to win and go through that way. So we were buzzing on the drive home, our 4-hour drive home. Got home at 2 a.m, but it made it a lot easier knowing that we'd come through that night.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a real high to winning in a six-red shootout, but the strange thing for you is that you had to wait for that high. I mean, you said when we spoke to you on the show that you thought you'd had it won, but you weren't until you were fully confirmed. You had to sort of wait around for a few minutes before you could fully celebrate. I guess that's a strange way of winning.
It is, yeah. And I watched it back, and it was just tense watching myself there, waiting to hear the final result. So it must have been good viewing for the viewers. But yeah, it was a bit nervy. I think in the back of my head, when we heard the buzzer go, we kind of knew that we'd won. But you just never know if there was a mistake from the start with the timer. You just don't really know until it's confirmed. So yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking, but I'm sure Deck and Ronan are probably sick of the sight of me and Carl at the minute, after last year's final, with obviously Deck having that red, which if he'd have potted it, everyone's saying they would have won, but I think it would have still been close. And then obviously
it would have been closer than one we had on Monday. Yeah,
even closer. And even the one Monday, if he'd have just got down and hit it, they would have probably won again. But still to this day, I don't know what took Deck so long, to be honest. But obviously delighted that.
Let's take a look at the six-red shootout. Let's look it back and sort of. So obviously you went second. Slightly surprising decision by many from Jon and Josh going first and then not putting up a time. So you kind of essentially going first in a two-way battle now, and not the best of breaks this time.
No, and you can see we're 10 seconds in, and we've played a break-off shot and one shot, and then I've missed that. I've tried to screw the white in to leave Carl the red to left middle. The white's gone all the way over there, and he's knocked a good long red in, to be fair, to leave me close to those two balls, and then we've cleared those two, and now these two. To be fair, we've done quite well to shoot 30 in the end from that break off from the start.
Where you were after 10 seconds, you were kind of nowhere.
Yeah.
What were you thinking when their break came out pretty well?
Well, their break came out so similar to ours. They had one ball to the bottom right. They had two balls over in the middle of the table where they had to wait for a ball to stop. It was just very similar to our break. And then you've got three in a cluster there, and there's the two in the middle, which they're trying to wait for a ball to stop. But theirs were obviously a little bit easier than ours because they were close with the white. But this shot here, Declan misses, which gave us a little bit of hope. But even still, they've got 15 seconds left with four balls. If Declan stuns this off the cushion and leaves him straight, they can't fail. I mean, looking back now, you could probably say Ronan could have played that one to the bottom corner, but you can see now Declan's still on the shot, and in the end, it was over a second, I think, that we won by. So But when you
Yeah,
sit in there watching it, it's so difficult. So many things are going through your head. You think you can't win from the start, and then you've got that little bit of hope, but you try not to get yourself too excited because really they should still do it. And then when the buzzer went, it was just like, oh wow, we've just won. And that's how
yeah.
the emotions are just crazy on a Monday night, especially in the pairs.
I mean, it's so easy for me and for people at home to sit there and be critical of Ronan and Declan for their last 2-3 shot choices, and maybe even Declan for missing that ball in the middle. But you've been involved in a few of those shootouts, and it's hard to keep your composure and hard not to get a scrambled brain, I guess, at times.
It is. You just feel like you're rushing all the time. You feel like you need to get the quickest time possible. But sometimes, like looking back at ours, if you've got the time, I'd have probably said to Carl, don't wait for that ball to stop in the middle of the table. Just stun into the little cluster, stop the white dead, and then I've got, a free go at something. So it's hard. It is hard, especially in pairs. It's not just you that's thinking; it's both of you thinking. So many people say that in pairs it's easier to set a quicker time, but when you've got two brains thinking possibly differently, I think you'd rather set a quicker time on your own. I think you've got a better chance setting a quicker time on your own. So yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the mentality you have going into a six-red shootout. We always, I'm always looking at the sort of psychology of sport and always talking about the pair that will least like to be in the shootout, which was definitely you guys, because you went into that final night knowing that you had control of your own destiny. But also, you said at the beginning of this interview, you were flawless throughout the night. You guys didn't make one mistake. Pretty much every time you came to the table, you cleared up, apart from that last frame where Carl had nothing really to go at. It would have been a tough way to not go through, because on the balance of play on the whole night, you were the strongest partnership. So does that put you into a negative when you go into that shootout?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird mentality going into the last game because you can't get beat or you can't lose, but actually, when you do lose the match and you're still in the worst possible situation out of what you could be in. So yeah, it is tough on the mentality, but the fact that we didn't go first and another team went first and knocked themselves out, it made it like a 50-50 again, and it felt quite. What's the word? It felt good just competing with Deck and Ronan again in a six-red shootout. It felt like, good memories. Yeah, and obviously Carl said in the interview at the start about how the viewers would like to see us two again in a six-red shootout, and that's how it panned out in the end. And I think they were desperate to get revenge, but as I said, it was a strange one again. You don't expect two shootouts like that between us two to go right down to the last ball. And
No.
the last ball roll in, and then the buzzer goes, and you're just left in limbo again as to if you won or not. It was, the emotions.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the decision that Josh and Jon made. We sort of always quite, we find it surprising when players win the lag and go first. I'd say it's about 60-40, maybe 70-30 in favour of going last. You lost the lag, and therefore you got put in second, and Deck and Ronan were second in the lag, therefore went last. But would you have made the same decision as Jon and Josh? Because you said on the show that you've always had success going first.
Yeah, it's interesting because we've not actually won the lag to choose. So we've always been forced to go first. And I don't think it's that much of a big deal going first in a two-way shootout, but going first in a three-way shootout, I think that's a lot more pressure on you because you got to beat two guys. And obviously the fact that they didn't even set a time meant that they were out and we only had to beat each other. So I was happy going second. I just didn't really want to go first, but didn't want to go. Yeah, didn't want to go first. I was happy enough going second. And like I said, once they didn't set a time, we were happy setting Deck and Ronan a time. And I think when you set, like I said in the interview afterwards, if we can set around 24-25, that's not the best time in the world, but it's enough to put them under a bit of pressure. They know that if they miss a ball or the white's travelling 5 seconds, that puts them under pressure to beat it. So there are pros to going first, and there are obviously cons. But I think if we won the lag in a two-way shootout, we probably would go second. I think most people would go second.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess it's one of those. You're happy to go first, but I guess if you get that choice, you feel like the second's the right way.
I think it's quite nice not having the choice. There's not that pressure you've chosen your fate kind of thing. Someone else has chosen your position, and you just get on with it. So it's not a bad thing losing the lag.
Yeah, no, I guess as long as you put in a decent time, you can put the pressure on. Now that you're in the finals, and I asked you in the interview before the show started, had you allowed yourself to think about what it would be like to retain the title? Now that you're in finals night, and regardless, you have to say, of who comes through from the other three groups, you won't have a tougher group or it won't be any tougher than the group you've just had. So you must feel, pretty good about your chances about getting hands on silverware again.
Yeah, it is all on the night. There's a lot of luck involved in the pairs and the Monday night format. We know that. Everyone knows that. But I think me and Carl have got something unique. I don't know what it is, but we've got something that, we just kind of bounce off each other when we're playing. We know each other's game. So yeah, we've got every chance now. We're the first team in the finals night, so we will be favourites at the minute until obviously some of the other big hitters come in, and then it's going to be another eventful night at finals night. But yeah, we've got every chance of retaining it. But we just take it one match at a time. At the end of the day, we're going to have a tough semi-final match, whoever that's against. And as long as we perform like we did the other night on Monday night, then we will give ourselves a good chance.
Yeah, it'd be a great Christmas present for you if you can retain that title. We're really looking forward to it last Monday before Christmas. I want to ask you about your season as a whole, but also let me ask you in a context of what Carl Sutton did following winning the pairs with you. It almost spurred him on, and he was, you would say, he was probably on quite a low confidence, a poor run of form, low on confidence, and all of a sudden he wins the pairs, and then he goes in and I wouldn't say he went into the next tournament with confidence, but he found a tournament from somewhere, and he looked and ever since he's looked a different player to me. Are you kind of looking at what Carl did and thinking, maybe, you're getting a little bit of inspiration from what he did?
Yeah, I guess so. If you win any tournament, it's going to give you confidence, whether it's pairs or singles. If we can win on Monday, that or whenever the finals is on the 19th of December, that will give me confidence going into the Pro Cup. So it's just natural when winning just gives you confidence, no matter what tournament it is. We've obviously got the final tour event before then, but the fact that we've just qualified gives you confidence as well. So we'll be on a high going into the final event in Blackpool, which is obviously the next big event for us, and obviously it's the final event, so ranking points are up for grabs for next season. So that's the next focus.
Yeah, do you have much focus on those ranking points? I mean, you're currently, I think, 15th in the rankings. I haven't done the maths. I don't know if you have. I don't know whether you can finish outside the top 28, but I guess the level of player that you are, I mean, you're not worried about top 28. You're more worried about higher than that. Yeah,
I think I'd be a bit unlucky to finish outside the top 28, but I want to finish in the top 16 as well. There is, I think there's a bit of benefit to being in the top 16. But when I go into a tournament, I want to just perform well. And when you're there, if you're playing well, you want to go on and win it. And that's what I've got to do. I've just got to put the time in, because I don't really practice like I used to a few years ago. It's difficult getting the time to practice at the minute. So sometimes I turn up, I'm a bit rusty, maybe a bit more inconsistent. I had a decent season last season on tour, but that kind of come out of nowhere, because again, I didn't really put the effort in. Not really through choice. It's just one of them things in life that sometimes other things become a priority. And pool has always been the love of my life, really. Pool and snooker. So if I can get the time to play, I will. Just sometimes life doesn't allow you to play. So I'll try and get out and put the time in for the final event for sure.
Does that mean that you look at a season like you've had this year, obviously 15th in the rankings this year, you've had 4 quarterfinals out of 9 events, but also throw on top of that a disappointing World Championships and World Masters? Do you kind of look at this as quite a down season? And with kind of, it looks like the Ultimate Pool expanding, looks like the prizes on offer are going to get bigger, the tour's going to go stronger and stronger. Does that mean that you sort of feel like there's a need and almost an ambition to sort of put that time in and really try and drive yourself back to the top?
Yeah. As I said, I want to put the time in. Sometimes, I've just not been able to, not through any fault of my own. So I want to, I want to give as much dedication as I can to it. But I still work full time. There's a bit of uncertainty in my job at the minute as well. So there's a lot going on in my life at the minute. So But yeah, once things die down, hopefully I can get the chance to put some more practice in and get my game sharper. I still play to a decent level without practice, but it's just the consistency in winning a tournament. Sometimes you might have a bad game and you're out. When I won that the World Rules Tour a couple of years ago, I was putting the time in, and I was very sort of consistent. My patterns were better. People sort of say I'm a bit of a erratic player, or I play flary shots, but I think it just looks that way because I like to leave myself areas. I'm happy to leave myself distance, because I'm confident in my own potting ability. So, but if I can get a bit tight with the patterns and make the game as easy as possible, then I've got every chance. And so that's the ambition, to go back to how I was playing maybe a couple of years ago. So yeah, I've just got to put the effort in.
Yeah, I guess that's where, unfortunately, Paul has not been in a great place for a few years, and I guess a lot of players are. That there's no doubt you will have to have other priorities, but hopefully, with the way Ultimate Pool are going, that maybe the prizes can keep getting bigger and bigger, and it can take some pressure off you guys, and the rewards can be really worth it. Certainly feel like we're heading that way. You say that a lot of people don't, you play so quickly. I think there's definitely an element that players see you play, or viewers see you play so quickly and think that you are more flamboyant. But I still think you play a really solid level of game. You have an all-round game. Obviously, you choose to be aggressive. But does that sort of make you laugh when you sort of see people talking about that?
Yeah, but people don't. I hear people in commentary say about certain shots, and I don't think people quite understand what goes on in my head. I think there was a shot with Carl the other day. I left him a choice of 2 yellows, and he played the outside yellow, but it looked as though I tried to land him on the straight yellow, which had half a pocket. But I gave him the choice to choose, to choose on which one he preferred. But those sort of things don't get mentioned, and it looks like I've just kind of left him nowhere, and he's had to pull a shot out. So just things like that, really, where I kind of know what I'm doing. I do, it looks erratic sometimes, and because I think quickly, I think people don't maybe think as quick as me. So when I get down and play a shot quick, they think I've rushed it, but actually that's all logged in the head, and I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I guess I remember the shot that Carl played, and you left him on it. I think you'd have been really happy to play the shot that he played, and I think once you played it, you realize, in commentary box, you kind of realized, that actually gave Carl loads of margin of error on his next shot, and actually was a great choice of lead. Really.
Screw into the black, just leaving the choice of 2, and I would have played the shot he played. That's the one I wanted him to play. But obviously, where I was, I couldn't screw off the black. I was, I'd have been losing the white, so I had no choice but to sort of just stop the white dead. So yeah, but I think Gareth said in commentary about me leaving him the half bag. But it was I gave him a choice, whichever personal preference he.
No, it's fascinating. I'd love to get you guys mic'd up at some point. I think that with all the players. I'd love to see more insight into what you guys actually think at times, because
we do actually.
Some of it's scary.
We do actually talk quite a bit in the games. A lot of players don't; they just get on with it. But I think it's good to talk every shot, just so the other guy knows what you're doing. We do kind of plan our route from the start. But if you land a little bit awkward, just have a chat saying you're still happy to go that way, or do you want to play this one next? And I think that's where we just work well together. We know each other's game, but we're happy to stop and just have a little chat. Other players sometimes don't feel like they can talk to each other. They just want to let the other guy get on with it. But I think in pairs, it's good to communicate a lot.
Yeah, I've always found that dynamic fascinating all the way through the pairs. The ones that want to and the ones that don't. So it is fascinating, and obviously it's about the right way of communicating, which you guys obviously do really, really well, because you are the defending champions and you're back in finals night. Shaun, thank you for your time and coming and joining us. Best of luck when we see you in the 19th. But also we've got the Pro Series and some other bits and pieces coming up between now and the 19th. So you're going to be busy on the table, and we look forward to seeing you in action. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, great to hear from Shaun Chipperfield, and great to see Shaun and Carl back in finals night of the Pairs Cup. They could defend their crown. Guys, what I want to pick up on the interview, though, is that 6 red shootout. Just incredible Tom, I mean, what a six-thread shootout that is. It looked like it was in the bag for the Northern Irish pair. Decky missing that ball or waiting too long on that ball at the end.
Yeah, I don't think he'll want to watch that back because obviously that red. I don't think it was a red at the end. He missed a red into the middle, and that red in the middle that must have cost about 4 or 5 seconds maybe. But yeah, he definitely won't want to watch that one back. I mean, I understand why he took his time a little bit at the end because he just wanted to make sure of the pot. But I don't think he realised that he didn't have a lot of time, so he'll be kicking himself with that one.
Yeah, I mean, he absolutely will. I mean, Scott, I was already writing out the text to you to laugh at you for getting your pick wrong because I had Decky and Ronan, and then he was still down on the shot, and I was like, what are you doing? But I agree with Tom. The miss in the middle was the one that really hurt, but there was a few errors in the shootout. But you put that shootout on the back of what they did in last year's final, I mean, they're going to be really hurting off that.
I feel for Declan, and I really do. And I know that I make jokes and stuff like that, but Declan just, I don't know if he's struggling just ever a little bit with his confidence, but when you're struggling with your confidence, it's little shots like that can make a big difference. So had they have managed to get through, maybe that may have made a bit of a big difference to his season. But the Declan Brennan of 12 months ago, he would have been an absolute dead cert. They would have been a dead cert to go through in the form he was in. So what I'm hoping is that Declan can go back to the drawing board, rediscover the form, re-become the phenomenal player that we know he can be.
Yeah, I think what Declan's in a run of is he's losing matches when he's playing okay, but losing matches when you see some players. Ronan's a prime example. We're going to talk about him in the Masters this week. He came through and he probably didn't play his best. He's on that winning habit, and Ronan, and that's what Declan needs to rediscover. But definitely one that's going to hurt them. Tom, I want to ask you about the six-thread shootout. Though obviously you're joining the tour. You're highly likely at some point to end up in a six-thread shootout. How it's a little bit of a crazy way of deciding matches, but I guess you're just going to embrace it and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I've never even had a go at it. I've seen a couple of them before, and I think obviously the idea is to hit it soft off the break. I mean, I don't really know the rules of it. I mean, I think you can obviously wire ball still moving as long as the white and the object ball are stopped. Then you can hit it. Is that right?
Yeah, 100% correct.
So it's all about going the right way by the looks of it and not making the white move too much. Whereas I have seen a couple where the white's moving quite a lot, and waiting for that white ball, it's valuable seconds. So when I do play, I'll definitely have to have a go at it a few times just to see if I can get anywhere close to the average.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely worth it because it could decide. Well, it will decide matches at some point. They'll be involved in one, that's for sure. Or as well as the six-thread shootout, though, it's very fast-paced. The pool, 30 seconds a shot is okay, but there's going to be huge parts of matches that are 15 seconds a shot. And I know that you have your snooker shootout, which gets down at, I think, at 10 seconds a shot at times. But how much are you sort of dreading, or do you think you'll be okay at 15 seconds a shot?
No, I think it should be easy enough. To be honest, I mean, as soon as the white ball stopped, anybody with half an idea should know what they're going to play within the first couple of seconds anyway. I mean, most of the time, the first way you look at it is normally the way to go anyway. That's one of the reasons why I stopped playing pool, to be honest. But slow play, and it was just getting boring. So this fast-paced pool, it's the way it should be, and I don't think anyone should have a problem to 15 seconds a shot.
Scott, I feel like we need to clip that up play it back to him after your first couple of matches, and we'll see if you can really get to that 15 seconds. Everybody seems to moan about how tough it is.
Simon, why are we talking? Just let Tom keep talking because I'm enjoying everything he's saying. Keep talking. Keep talking. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's what you want, isn't it? Fast-paced, attacking pool. I guess that's the way the rules are set up now. It's the way the tournaments are set up now.
It's the fact that Tom's dissing all of the slow players out there of yesteryear, and the fact that the reason he stopped playing was because pool got boring. That's what I was listening to there, Simon.
Well, I mean, it's. I guess there's a lot of truth in that, though. I think. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The rules were set up that way.
Absolutely, totally. You're not far wrong, Tom. There's been a lot of slow play. It's kind of turned people off of in the past of watching Paul. So, kind of to see you come back in. Now you've got to live up to your exciting, fast-paced brand of Paul yourself. So if I see you taking over 5 seconds over a shot, I'm going to be barracking you from the sideline, asking you to hurry up.
Yeah, it's just it's one of them. I think once you see the balls, you should know which way you're going. It's I think a lot of the top players, they won't struggle with like the 15 seconds a shot. It's like I said, it was the reason why I stopped playing pool, because it was getting slow, it was getting boring. Also, I never liked the deliberate foul rule. Basically, you could cheat. I didn't like that rule. So for the rules that we have now in the ultimate pool, I think it's a lot better rules, and I just think it's the way to go. And I'm looking forward to playing.
Yeah, exciting to hear that. As I can agree with everything you said, as Scott did as well. But Scott, final word on the pairs. We are at times critical of the 6 red shootout because it has sometimes it doesn't feel the right way to end great matches. But in the pairs, in the Monday night shows, it's absolutely fantastic. But would you say that the best pair on the night were in danger of not going through? Because it definitely felt like Carl Sutton and Shaun Chipperfield played the best pool on the night, and then still had to do it in a 6 red.
Yeah, it really did, and kind of, I don't know. I mean, it would kind of be a bit farcical if all of a sudden you had a vote on who you thought was the best player and they went through. I mean, how else are you going to do it? Are you going to flip a coin? Are you going to go frames for, frames against? I don't know. I don't know kind of what the better way is. But listen, the public would have been entertained on Monday night, and that's the main thing. Whether we agree with 6 red shootout at times or not, Monday night was a very interesting 6 red shootout, and just shows how dramatic they can be in the right context.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the 6 red shootout just is a natural fit for those shows. Now we need to update our scores on our picking battle. Now, Tom, you probably don't know this, but Scott and I, we have a pick each week on every single tournament. And the loser of our picking battle has to go for a little swim in Blackpool in the ocean in December, which is only 2 weeks away now, Scott. 2 weeks away. So let's update the scores. I did have a two-point advantage, and you got this week right. So you are back within 24-23. More scores to update, though, which I'm pleased to say. But yeah, you're back in within one. So well done, Scott. Congratulations. Let's take a look at what we got coming up this week in the pairs then, because it's another cracking group for us. Chris Day and Shaun Story are a fantastic combination. Shaun is the ultimate pool number 2. Chris went really well at the World Championships, and then you'll see a change there. Brian Halcrow and Andrew Russell come in as lucky losers, as the winners of that group, Carl Boyes and Jake McCartney, cannot attend. Carl's over in America for the Moscone Cup. So it's just good news for the buzzer and Andy Russell. And then you've got the guys from the Southwest, Greg Batten and Jez Graham. And then that great-looking partnership, Christy Caulfield and Connor Tracy, complete the lineup. It's a good group, Scott, isn't it?
Well, you've got to pick first. I already know who I'm picking.
Okay, okay, interesting. Let me run through the group. I think on paper, you have to say that in my opinion, the number 2 seed, Shaun Story and Chris Day, will be the favourites for this group. But it's such a slight favourite tag. You can't really have favourites the way this tournament is set up. I think I'd be surprised to see Buzzer and Andy come through, even though they are lucky losers. Sometimes that gives them a new lease of life. I don't know. It'd be Jez and Greg were great. I think they could go really well. They could come through. There is something about that Connor Tracy and Christy Caulfield partnership that I really like, and I really wish I had second pick here, hoping that you weren't going to go for Christy and Connor. I think I'd go for them, but I feel like with first pick, I can't go away from Shaun Story and Chris Day. I'm going to go for them. So yeah, that's my pick. I'm going with the top seeds.
I'm not disappointed in your pick.
I thought you might. I didn't.
I'm not.
Which way you going?
Who I'm going to pick. You know who I'm going to pick.
Connor and Christy.
Correct. I just thought that they were excellent last time out. They were excellent last time out. And obviously we'll get to it shortly. But Christy, he seems to perform really well on the big stage as well, as we saw on Wednesday night. So yeah, happy for you to have gone first there, mate.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting actually if you had got first pick, whether you'd have still gone that same way. Because I think we're both going along the same lines there. But that's our picks for this week. Tom, we're going to move on to the Masters now, and somebody that you do know, somebody from as Scott said, from the good old days. Ronan McCarthy has got a new lease of life. He has suddenly won 5 tournaments on the trot, including the World Championships, the World Masters, and the Players' Championships. And he was in action on Monday night in the pairs and came up short in that 6-red shootout. He was also in action on Wednesday in the Masters, and it was just an incredible night of action, just unbelievable. A match that went all the way. Against Christy Caulfield, it went all the way down to the wire. Both players came through their respective sort of group semi-finals, if you like. But that group final, I mean, unbelievable. We're going to show you a shot actually from this. Well, let's just show you the shot. It's so dramatic. So Christy Caulfield has got a shot that he thinks he has won the match with. Scott thought he had won because he picks Christy to come through this group. Let's watch the final minute or so of this match play out. Christy is on yellows, and he is 1 frame away from winning.
I think I actually seen this.
Yeah, no, you would have done. It would have been all over social media if you didn't see it, if you weren't watching live. Incredible.
Yeah, did he come out of the snooker and pot the black and then the white went in the middle?
Exactly. It's so, I mean, incredible, really. But to get to that point was actually really impressive.
What a shot that was to try and open everything up.
It's disgusting. Literally, I had my phone in my hand mid-text when that white followed in the pocket.
Ronan was stood up ready to shake hands. And you have to factor in as well, in the frame before, Christy snookered himself on the 8 ball and took his full allotted time and sort of almost run out of time. And in the end, he actually played a great shot. It wasn't a fluke. He played to make the 8 ball off one cushion, and he did. But you thought that shot and then this followed it was just incredible.
Yeah, it's a good double, isn't it? It's unlucky to go into the red, isn't he? Otherwise, he's got the double on.
Yeah, so he's got the double. He actually ends up trying to play a treble and goes all wrong. Yeah. I'm commentating at this point, and I'm going for stunned silence. I have no idea what to say. It's not this shot. It's going to be the shot in a minute.
Yeah.
But let me quickly ask, though, Scott, are you at all surprised that Ronan didn't just go for the finish there?
Yeah, I'd have gone for the finish all day long. Because you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of the pool players don't like taking reds down the cushion, I've noticed. They like doubling them or getting them out. But just how good Ronan is there, Ronan's not going to miss if he gets the clearance.
I thought he wasn't gaining a lot by playing safe. But there's the shot. I mean, how close to the red did he get? Look at Ronan. He's ready to shake hands. Just absolutely bonkers. You'll see here on the replay how close this cue ball gets to the red. Twice. Absolute sickener. Of course, that took us into a deciding frame, and in the deciding frame, Ronan had first chance and didn't take it. And Christy, probably in shock, he played probably the worst shot he played all night long, a terrible safety, and unfortunately gave Ronan a second chance, which he took. I mean, is that what we're talking about, Scott, when we're talking about a man that can't lose at the moment? He'd lost, but he got a sort of second chance.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even that, and Ronan would tell you this himself. You know, we'll see Ronan this weekend, but Ronan will tell you himself. Christy Caulfield can feel pretty hard done by because he probably played the best overall across the evening, and even in that match against Ronan. Having said that, fair play to Ronan. He's riding his luck like you wouldn't believe at the moment, and he just keeps coming up trump. So, you know, fair play to Ronan. I mean, a lot of that luck deserted him earlier in the season, and now he seems to have found it in abundance.
Yeah, this is a man that couldn't win a match for 9 months, and all of a sudden he's won 5 straight tournaments. I mean, Tom, obviously you make your living, you know, in the snooker world, and you have to sort of live and die by results. But do you get into that sort of level of confidence sometimes when you just feel like you always end up on the right side of, not necessarily lucky shots like that, but you're just always going in and the momentum's there for you and you just seem to ride it?
Yeah, it's one of them things as well when things are going well for you that the luck seems to go for you as well. It's exactly the same when you're playing bad and you're struggling to get results. That sometimes you think you're playing well and you're thinking, right, you've got a good chance in matches, and then a little bit of luck will go against you, and then before you know it, you're thinking, well, everything's going against you. But obviously in Ronan's case, he's playing some great pool and he's getting the results. And the thing is with that as well, people then come up and play Ronan and think, well, hang on a minute, he's playing really well at the minute. So automatically they don't fancy the chances, so then that helps. And then they have a little bit of bad luck themselves and think, well, we can't win this game now. So things like that will always go for him. They'll always go for players that are playing well. So I think that's what's just happening with Ronan at the minute. But the only trouble is Ronan's such a good player anyway that he could go on these streaks. And people are really, really afraid to play him now, especially with the amount of matches and tournaments he's winning.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I find sports psychology absolutely fascinating, and there's so much to unpack in what you said there. But I can't tell you how many matches on the trot Ronan's won now, because it's a huge number. It's 5 tournaments, obviously, then the Masters as well. In individual play, obviously, he's had team events and pairs events in between as well, which he's gone well in. But he hasn't played his best in all those matches. I mean, he will tell you he hasn't played. It wasn't perfect pool on Wednesday in the Masters, but he is, he's winning those right moments. He's making, his opponents aren't always punishing him. And it's just that momentum of sport. I just find it absolutely fascinating. And I guess, Scott, I mean, the question will be, how long will it last for him?
It will last as long as Ronan likes to say, is the pool guards will let it last for. Listen, if he never won another match for the next 3 years, he's not going to moan about the streak that he's been on. He's fulfilled his lifelong ambition in becoming a world champion. He's enjoying a real Indian summer in his career. Listen, you can't begrudge him it. But there will be some point where, lady luck doesn't come into it, and Ronan will be beaten. It will be how he responds to that.
Yeah, I had to interview Ronan on air straight after that match, and I walked out to the arena to interview him, and he just looked at me and was just like, with just a goofy grin and a laugh, just like he's almost like, I don't know why it's happening either, but it's still happening for Ronan. And obviously Scott was very, very excited that it happened, because this week on the picks, I get it right. Let's update the scores, and I did allow you to get within 1. I am back 2 clear, and we are running out of we're running out of weeks for you here, mate. We're running out of tournaments for you. Let's take a look at this week's group, and your pick first this time. So run us through the group this week, then, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of dangerous players in there. Zach Shepherd, Scott Yardley. But listen, I'm going to go against the grain here, and I'm going to pick the favourite in the group. That's not like me, Simon, and I'm going to go for Stevie Dempsey this time around.
I mean, come on, yeah, it's not like you. You do it week in, week out, but you can't look past it. I think this is a great week to get first pick. Stevie Dempsey, he's number 2 on the 1-year list. He's going really, really well. He won tournaments with Ultimate Pool, riding high at the moment, and the guys against him there, They haven't been going very well in the Challenger Series this year. Not one of them has got any sort of form to talk about that we can look at. Anything we can say, maybe if they put on a performance, you would say maybe on a CV basis, maybe Zach Shepherd's your guy. But every time we've seen him out there in the Ultimate Pool arena, he'll be the first to tell you he's just not even played anywhere near his level. So he'll be very disappointed. So I do think Steve.
Apart from that magical night he had in the pairs with Andy Cragg, and they managed to upset Gareth Potts and Mark Selby.
They did, but that was more. Yeah, but I would say that was more to do with Andy Cragg's just, unbelievable form. No, I'm not saying Zach didn't play well, but it was Andy that made some big finishes there. That was.
I'm trying to Zach a bit of confidence going into his match, and you might have to pick him in a second, and you're literally there putting a flamethrower all over his performance. What's up with you, Simon?
Well, I am going to pick him. At some point, I've seen him play some really good pool. At some point, he's going to have to turn up. And I also like the fact that he's playing on the opposite side of the draw from Stevie as well. So I'm hoping he can win his first match, get some confidence from that, and then who knows what could happen in the group final. So I'm going to go for Zach Shepherd. You're going to go for the favourite, as you always seem to. So that's our picks for Wednesday night in the Masters, and that is all on Ultimate Pool TV on the Ultimate Pool app on Wednesday at 6:30. Right, do you want to talk some wild cards now then, Scott? We've already talked about Tom being announced this week. We already know about some of the other wild cards. We've got Mark Williams, Mark Allen, Ryan Day, Ian Alley, Yannick Brophy, Carlo Donahue, Wade Morley and Paul Clack. We got more to come. On Monday night, we announced Jon McAllister, the former world champion, a great addition to the Pro Series. I think he's the sort of player that's going to come in and hit the ground running. I think he's going to be a danger straight away. I know he's got to go through the first rounds and he's got to go through seeds potentially as well. But I think he's the sort of guy that could definitely go deep and win tournaments.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't know if you know this, but he's actually changed his nickname. He's no longer known as the Machine. He's referring to himself as the Qist these days. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, Simon, but there's a subtle nickname change. Listen, Jon McAllister is a class act. He is a great player to watch. So many highlight reel moments in terms of shot selection. One of the best skill shots I've ever seen in my life was played by Jon McAllister, and how he's thought of it, I'll never know. I'm really excited to see him, but he's got an awful lot of work to do to work his way through the Ultimate Pool field. Has he got the talent to do it? Most definitely, and I'm really looking forward to see him compete with the strength over at Ultimate Pool.
Yeah, and I guess, Tom, it's with Jon, he might be one of the new players. He's still in his mid-late 20s that you may not have competed against a few years ago. Is it a player that you've ever come across?
Yeah, I've come across Jon because I think he's around the Midlands area, isn't he? I think I think he's been down to Club 147 in Leicester a few times. I think he might have even played for Leicester County at one point. I'm not sure. But yeah, Jon's one of them names that I do know. Obviously, without sounding disrespectful for a lot of the names, obviously I've not followed pool now for years, so obviously I don't know a lot of the players anymore. But Jon's definitely one of them that I know, and obviously his results get his name out there anyway. So I know that he's a good player, and he should do well in this format.
And I did actually manage to catch up with Jon McAllister after he played in the pairs on Monday night.
Jon, big announcement tonight. You are going to be joining the Ultimate Pool Pro Series next year. How much are you looking forward to getting your pro career with Ultimate Pool underway?
Yeah, really pleased. Looking forward to the new challenge that's coming ahead next year. Lots of other tournaments in between as well. So yeah, really excited.
Ever since you sort of came through as a top junior and you've been playing at the top level, you've won tournaments on the biggest stage. You've won the world title. Why now? What's the sort of reasoning for coming across to Ultimate Pool?
Just the timing of it, really. I think my game needed a change a little bit as well. I think sometimes, turning up to events, same players all the time as well, it was tough for me. So a new challenge, fresh start sort of thing, and then just hope it goes my way.
Is this going to give you, a reason to really put the hours in, put the practice in, and a new challenge, a fresh start, as you say? Yeah,
I've always looked to put the hours in, but circumstances obviously can't always go your way. But going into the new year, starting in January, so hopefully I can put the hours in and then my performances show on the table.
We've seen some huge names be announced as wildcards already. Some of the snooker stars coming across. Is that quite exciting to get to play against some of those top snooker stars, as well as some of the top pool players, you have to say, from the history of the game?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the better the opponent, the better the joy when you actually win a match or win a trophy, to be fair. So, yeah, looking forward to playing everyone, to be fair. And then, hopefully just take them out one by one.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like a good plan. You'll be starting, obviously, as a non-seed, so you're going to have, obviously, potentially tough draws, but you'll be playing against seeds early in tournaments. Is that sort of a good challenge for you? And is your focus for next year just to go as deep as you can, or are you sort of already thinking, I need to get myself inside that top 32 for the following year and that sort of thing?
No, just one tournament at a time, one match at a time. probably playing the non-seeds first is probably a good thing for me because I seem to be a slow starter in most tournaments. But hopefully if I put the hours in and I don't turn up rusty, I've got a really good chance.
Do you set yourself many targets? Are you sort of already thinking that, you've done it before, obviously world title? Do you think come in and get yourself a title on the board, or are you just going to just see what happens, play the best you can?
No, I'd never really set a target. I just take one match at a time, just see what happens on the weekend, really. Like you say, when I turned up to the Worlds, I didn't expect nothing, and something just clicked. So if anything clicks on a tournament, who knows what the outcome will be.
We've got a lot of big tournaments with Ultimate Pool, but also a slightly different dynamic to the sort of pool that you've played in the past in terms of a lot of matches that will be played to a match clock. Obviously, we've seen you do that, in the pairs in the Champions League before, but obviously every tournament you play is going to have that element to it. Is that a sort of new dynamic and a new challenge that you quite like and you'll be looking forward to playing in?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Hopefully the 15 seconds obviously is going to be a bit more to get used to because I've only played little snippets of it on Monday nights, etc. But it'll be something I'll try and work on a little bit in my game and hopefully adapt really well.
We've got one more wild card to announce, and it is Jimmy Carney, a guy that's been around for quite a while now. Another player that has gone well in World Championships in the past, yet to win one, but gone very, very close. Also won pro tournaments. And I actually saw Jimmy last week. I used to spend quite a lot of time with him when I was on the tour with him. I haven't seen him for 3 or 4 years because of COVID, and I bumped into him in Essex about a week ago. It's great to catch up with him and see him. But it's got a great player, another great addition, I think, to the Pro Series.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jimmy Carney. I always kind of have been a fan of Jimmy Carney. If you know your pool, Jimmy's a great player with great pedigree. And the other thing as well, he's got a personality, so he's quite a fun guy to be around. He's got ridiculous amounts of self-belief, and he's not going to come here just to make the numbers up. Believe me, he's going to come here to win.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's done a lot in coaching side of things as well. He's not just a good player; he does a lot on the coaching. When I spoke to him a week or so ago, he was telling me that he's inundated. He's doing a huge amount of coaching as well, so which is great to hear because I think it's great to see a lot of players trying to improve their game. But yeah, really looking forward to seeing Jimmy in action, and I know that he's absolutely itching to get going as well. So I'm sure he's putting in the hard yards and will be ready for the first tournament. We will try and get him on extra soon as well. I did speak to him and try and talk to him about getting him on the show. So hopefully we'll get him on the show very, very soon as well. Right, let's move on to what we've got coming up this weekend, and it is the second edition of the mini series. We've got the women and the seniors in action on Ultimate Pool TV throughout the weekend. All the action gets underway at 11 o'clock on Friday morning, all the way through to the conclusion on Sunday evening. Scott, there's something about the mini-series. I know you're there now, actually. You'll be there this weekend with the podcast, running the podcast tables and having some fun out there with everybody that wants to come and watch and play in the event. There was a good spirit at the last mini-series. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It is real fun. There's a real camaraderie around the tournament and a real element of fun around the tournament as well. But make no mistake about it, as soon as the matches kind of break off, it's deadly serious, and we were really treated to last time out to, the resurgence of Emma Cunningham, which I know a lot of people were absolutely delighted to see, and she was only too happy to tell me in the arena that I know nothing, which was quite funny.
She's right.
And also the rebirth of Ronan McCarthy, albeit with, come on, nobody saw Keith Brewer in the final, did they? A lot of people didn't realise he was still competing, but he was beaten in a 6-red shootout by Ronan McCarthy. Nobody saw that coming.
It's incredible, isn't it? It's also worth pointing out that's where Ronan's run started. It was way back when that mini-series happened. He won that tournament, I wouldn't say from nowhere. In his own words, he said that, he's not playing against machines match in, match out. There were some great players there, but not the top players of today at the moment. Or not as many of them, I should say. And he was able to get away with a couple of misses here and there, and then found a form, and from there he hasn't looked back. So yeah, it just shows you what you can do. There's some good names in the tournament. But the thing that I like about the mini-series is, as I mentioned there, is that spirit, the atmosphere there. There's a lot of fun happening. It's a serious tournament, but it's also it's light-hearted. Everybody's there to enjoy themselves and have a good time. And I guess, Tom, that's something you don't see as much in the snooker world, and it must be something you are actually looking forward to yourself in the pool world, is to have that. There's going to be hundreds of pool players at events, and actually catching up with people, taking your game seriously, but having some fun and some banter with the rest of the competitors as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the snooker, it's my living, so obviously the snooker's got to be quite serious. With the pool, it's sort of, it's still going to be serious. I'm still going to be there to try and win matches, but I think with pool as well, I find that I can take it a little less serious. I can have a bit more of a laugh with it. Just see people, and obviously see people I've not seen for years. So it's going to be a lot more fun, and no doubt everyone they'll tell you that it's, for me, I'll be having a few drinks, a couple of pints with the lads, and then having a game of pool. And that's what it's all about, I think, for me, just to sort of go and enjoy it. And if I enjoy it, I'm going to play well. So it's a different scene, whereas a snooker, you can't really go and have a couple of pints and then go and play a match. So on that side of it, it's going to be a lot more social side of it for me. But like I said, if I enjoy it, if I enjoy the weekend, then I'm going to play well, and then I've got half a chance.
Tom, can I give you a piece of advice?
What's that?
Can I give you a piece of advice for the weekends?
If I said no, would you still give it?
I've got to give it to you. So, all I'm saying to you is if you go to the bar with Simon, always make sure he orders a drink first, because you'll never get one if he doesn't. That's all I'm saying.
Is his wallet quite heavy? Is it? Never comes out.
I don't know where you go with that. Come on.
He'll do anything to avoid paying. I'm just saying.
I have to remember.
Yeah, that's poor form, Scott. I'll see you at the bar tomorrow night, mate. It's your round. Scott, let's turn our attention to the picks then for this week, because obviously it's an exciting tournament, but there are some big names there. Where do you want to go first? Do you want to pick from the women's series? Let's go women's series first. Let's do that. Who's picking first?
From the men's series. I'll pick first from the women.
Okay. So talk me through it. What's your thinking?
There are a fair few players. So obviously Emma is going to be the overwhelming favourite because she won last time out. However, suffered real disappointment in the World Championships, where she was comprehensively beaten by Barbara Taylor. You've got Harriet Haynes, who returned to form a couple of weekends ago, winning the national championship. You've got Danielle Randall, who's been seemingly knocking on the door for the last goodness knows how many tournaments. Kerry Griffith, who was a finalist last time out, and Emma really played well, so we didn't get to see the best of Kerry there. Amy Beecham, always a danger, but I am going to go with Harriet Haynes. I think that she's going to come out this weekend with a bit of a point to prove after her last excursions out in the Ultimate Pool Arena. So I'm going to go for Harriet Haynes.
I like what you did there, Scott. You casually tried to imply that Emma's the overwhelming favourite for the tournament, and then went for the number one player in Harriet. I think Harriet's the favourite for the tournament. Yeah. You do like to pick a favourite, I know that. But I agree with your assessment. I think Harriet is the favourite. I think Emma's right there with her. Amy Beecham is always dangerous. She's the number 2 this year as well. You did pick out some good names there. I think what I like about this series, I think it's an opportunity for some of the players who maybe are knocking on the door, for someone like a Danielle Randall to sort of get a title on the board, someone who has been going deep, winning, getting into finals, but yet to win a tournament. I do think it's an opportunity for them, and it wouldn't surprise me if we get, I wouldn't say a new winner is probably the right way of saying it. It wouldn't be a surprise to see some of these ladies win it, but I'm not going to go for a favourite. I'm going to go for somebody that hasn't won for a while now, but has won this year on the Ultimate Pool Women's Series. I'm going to go for Amy Beecham. I think the 4 times champ looks good every time I see her play. She didn't play her best in the last mini series. She didn't get that deep, but I think she's going to be geared up for the event up in Blackpool, and this is a great sort of stepping stone to that, and I think she'll be bang up for it. She's still got a chance to finish the year as the number one, so I'm going to go for Amy Beecham for that reason. So you're going for the favourite, and I'm going to go for Amy. Let's just get that right. Okay. Second favourite. Okay. We'll go to the seniors now then. So who's picking first on the seniors? Is it my pick first? Oh, I honestly don't know where to go here. I really don't. There's some good names in this tournament. You obviously got Ronan. He arguably be the favourite. Great to see Jason Twist back. Keith Brewer's in the tournament. Lee Kendall, who won the plate event last time out. I know that he hasn't touched his cue since the World Championships, winning the World Team Championships with England again. So I'm not going to pick him for that reason. But if he can find some form in the group stages, maybe. Andy Lucas is in action this weekend as well. Big fan of Andy, former teammate as well. Always look out for his results. Dylan Leary will be very, very dangerous. You may not have realised, Scott, I'm stalling for time. I should have made this decision ahead of the show. Come on then. Andy Appleton's there as well. I mean, there's just where do you go? I'm not going to go for Ronan because I've picked him twice this week. I just don't want to pick him 3 times. But I think he could continue his run. Come on then, let's go a little bit left field. Let's go Andy Lucas. There you go.
That's not bad. Andy's a terrific player, and I'm going to go a little bit left field as well, and I'm going to go for Jason Twist. Now, Jason Twist was new to the rule set. Last time hadn't played much international rules, but he's just such a class act, and every time I watch him, it takes me back to when I was a teenager and I used to watch him, and he was just unbelievable then. So I'm going to go for Jason Twist this weekend, and I just can't wait for the action to get underway.
Yeah, I was stalling. I was actually umming and ahhing between the two of them. Actually, that will hurt me if Jason wins it because I know I was very close to it myself. Tom, I guess there was quite a few names there that you will know from good to see some of them in action. You can watch it on Ultimate Pool TV. The other thing that actually is quite exciting this weekend, we're going to be showing some action on YouTube as well. So watch out for that on Ultimate Pool's social media. You can see what all the action, when and where you can watch it all, because there's going to be some on YouTube, some on the Ultimate Pool TV and the Ultimate Pool app. All the action, as I say, gets underway at 11 o'clock on Friday. Scott will be there and I'll be there as well. Let's move on. I want to talk about the Ultimate Pool Experience nights. We've had a few of them, Scott, and we've got another big one coming up this week with Gareth Potts and Carl Morris again on Wednesday night, the 30th.
Yeah, really exciting. If anybody has an opportunity to see these two in action in this environment, and I say in this environment because you think these guys are good when you watch them on TV. When there's a little bit of pressure off and it's in a more fun environment, they're actually even better, which is kind of scary. And Carl Morris's trick shots they have to be seen to be believed, and he's actually incredibly funny. As is Gareth Potts. He's very different from kind of the demeanour that you may see on the television in the experience environment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It should be an absolute cracker. I believe there are a couple of tickets still available, so if you do want to go and watch that, it's in Milton Keynes on Wednesday. Check out Ultimate Pool social media and website, and you'll be able to go and get yourself a ticket. Tom, I guess if you wanted to, you could go and renew your rivalry with Carl Morris. He's in action. You get yourself down to Milton Keynes on Wednesday and get yourself a game.
I think I'm washing my hair that night. I think I'll pass, to be honest. It's travelling to Milton Keynes to go and watch that. It's not for me, really. What is it, on Saturday night as well, is it?
No, it's on Wednesday, but yeah.
Wednesday. Well, I've definitely got something on Wednesday night then. But no, it's obviously for anyone that loves a pool, it'll be a great night. Obviously, Gaz is obviously one of the best players to ever pick up a pool cue. He's such a good player. Carl's obviously got all the experience and his trick shots, like you said earlier on. So anyone that wants to go and watch pool and watch two people that they only see on TV, it'll be a great night. And like I said, if any pool fans are out there, it will be a good night. Get yourself down there, and it should be a good one, and get to meet the players. It should be good.
Yeah, no, it should be a cracking night. So yeah, no, definitely get yourself down to Milton Keynes. Scott, bad news. I checked out the Ultimate Pool shop, and I think they've sold out the swimming shorts for you. was going to go and buy yourself a pair ready for Blackpool, and I couldn't see any. So I'm guessing
It's
they're
because
sold out.
I'd already bought you a pair. Bought you the last pair.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll have to get that sorted. I'll have to speak to them. So the reason I bring it up, if you do want to get any of the merchandise from Ultimate Pool, then check out the Ultimate Pool shop, ultimatepoolshop.com. Get yourself a hoodie, or there's all sorts on there. Cues, tips, chalk, hoodies. There is going to be some swimming shorts on there. Hopefully, we'll get some Ultimate Pool extra stuff in there as well, Scott.
Well, there should be a signed picture of you on there, Simon. Really, shouldn't there?
Why not? Why not? Everyone wants an extra 10p for the shop. Why not? Thank you, guys. Tom, really pleased that you could come onto the show. It really is great. I'm a huge fan of all Q Sports, and it's great to see so many snooker stars coming over, and it's great to see you come over and play some pool again. Really looking forward to seeing how you get on in 2023. So best of luck to you when you do play, and thank you for coming on the show. Great to have you on. Scott, thank you for joining us on the show as always. And make sure you tune in this weekend for the mini series, and then of course you've got the pairs on Monday and the Masters on Wednesday. So there's plenty of action on Ultimate Pool TV this week. Make sure you tune in, and we'll be back next week for another roundup of all the action as well. We'll see you then.